So there's a lot of discussion, real discussion happening. Um, Yesterday, there was a big tragedy on a university campus, but there was also two shootings at two separate schools. And more and more people are wondering, you know, what is viable? There's a worry, when you send your kids off to school, what's going to happen? And, that worry and anxiety is fueling an entire ecosystem to blossom, whether we like it or not. But I do think having quality education and being able to be on the forefront of that so that, there are going to be a lot of folks that get scammed. I know here in Michigan, when my children started online education, the state opened up for online education, and a lot of scammers were just flooding in. They were all happy taking, the money per student and then not providing any education. Um, and that can happen, and it's going to happen a lot more where you see AI academies. I see a number of them popping up, and I've been kind of keeping tabs, and they're really nothing more than a shell over ChatGPT or something of the sort. So yeah, it is one of those things that you have to be very discerning about where you spend your time and making sure that there's something at the end to show for it. One of the things that Wednesday nights were, or the ideas to impact, you did your project, but you know if you didn't have your GitHub out in the public, no one really knew what you built. And that is one of the things that you really have to test yourself on. If you've ever gotten a certificate or a degree or accreditation, licenses, etc., you have an expectation of continuing education. And that's one of the things that we needed to have, that accountability, and to be able to prove, that what you say you know how to do, you actually can prove it. And I think more and more people are going to understand how important those certifications are, but also how important blockchain is in general, and how your credentials will be house held on various blockchains in the public ledger so that people know who they're dealing with, because you don't want to be catfished, right? So at any rate, for those that are just kind of coming on in, I see Magna's here. I'm so excited for you, Magna. I know you've been wanting to do this for a while. Just be real, aware that if this goes and is a live stream, there you are. It's so lovely to see your face. We are going to go live stream, so if you don't want people to see you or know what you look like for real on Twitter or other streaming services, you can just use your avatar and be safe if you want to do it that way. We want to make sure that everybody is aware of that ahead of time. So, at any rate, I'm waiting for Nick. There you go, Magna.
Um,
Go ahead.
no, so this is not a typical workshop where I have like a plan. What I wanted to do was get you guys together, have a chat with you, have you guys like meet each other if we never met. And there's a bunch of you, so if you want to be on stage, let me know. There's only 10 at a max, so I can always bring you up if you want to be, but you can definitely still hear. Um, so a few things that are changing and a few things that are the same. The things that are changing are the way the workshops happen. They're going to be much more catered and centered around getting certificates and real world skills, and much more tight knit. And hopefully, people that are taking workshops with us, especially, I don't know if you've taken any of the seasons, Cameron, but we're restarting everything from zero. So it won't be season 10 at all. We're actually rejigging the entire thing, and we're going to make it totally different. There's going to be tracks of workshops that you guys can take on Wednesdays. One will be like more difficult, and one will be easier. So people that want to kind of do a lot more with code will be able to, and people that don't know as much or need to go slower will also have that opportunity. And that was one big request from a lot of people in AI Mastery. What do you guys think of that one? Two different tracks.
I think that's really cool. I also know some of the feedback that we got from The hackathon was having that printout, having the one page of what was expected, was so helpful. I mean, I know that the whole entire team learned a lot with the hackathon, and being able to have this kind of ecosystem, you're going to be learning skills that are going to play nicely with upcoming hackathons where you can test your chops and see what's going on. And I think that's really important because for our hackathon, specifically for the AI Mastery Hackathon, every single outside judge was absolutely gobsmacked that we had so many newbies and so many women participating.
Well, I will say one thing to that. One thing that I didn't like, which is totally fine, I'm allowed to have my own opinion, was that people were like submitting things that you couldn't log in that were going to judges. So like the quality control needs to be, like there needs to be more quality control there for the judges, so they're not like running around looking for a login button only to not be able to log in.
Well, I mean, the learning experience that we had there, that was one thing that was really heartbreaking because there were a lot of awesome projects that did not get to make it to the top echelon of judging because of broken links and things that just didn't work. And that's kind of a polish thing. And me as a judge personally, I've added it to my whole roster of things to remind people. Look, if you don't, we did a number of times tell people, hey, if your links are broken, we're not judging you. We even knew that people had turned things in and kind of nudged them behind the scenes and said, hey, you might want to redo this before the deadline because we can't see your work, right? But those are kinds of dotting the I's and crossing the T type things that are going to apply also to the projects and things that you're going to build for your customers or for yourself, for your own business. You want to not have any sloppy copies, as they say, right? So these are kind of a way to really fine tune and hone in an academic sense the things that you're going to need to be successful. So yeah, I just I hope that everybody understands that. But I also think too, having something in your hand was really important. I saw a lot of folks that had their certificates, that they finished the hackathon. A lot of people add that to their, resume. I won this hackathon. And it plays a big role in getting a spot in incubators and, funding rounds and things like that. So I do hope that we do more things like that. And if any of you, during the course of the classes that you're taking, I hope that you get out of your bubbles. And if you find wild hackathons, out in the wild and things like that, bringing them back home and saying, hey, I'm working on this, so that your teammates and your classmates can help support you too. Because this is how things are moving, and I'm excited. I'm excited for all of you.
And
I see that Elizabeth's here.
It gives us an opportunity to get more, like, know each and every one that's not just in Twitter, because Twitter's really difficult. I barely get messages, like you'll message me and be like, I need help, SOS. And like, if you don't take that second step to like message me again or go to Discord, sometimes I don't see you. So like a lot of times in these events that we have, people feel shy to come on stage. They don't want to talk. I mean, I feel like sometimes I'm talking to myself if Sarah and Sharon aren't there talking too. Or like Julie's not there talking about something. Because like the people, like everyone should want to talk. Like it's very difficult. You should have 101 questions, not none. And that's sort of where I think the disconnect is when we have these events and classes and we're putting in like 6 weeks of effort, but the effort's not matched on everyone else's end. And that's not useful because then you're not creating collaborative learning. It's very like 4 people do it and not everyone does it. And so we want to prevent this with this new rendition, if that makes sense. That's mainly one of the biggest things that we're doing, is to prevent that while still keeping it literally completely free. Because specialty courses like this don't cost like like 20, 50 a month, they cost thousands. Like you're talking about like specialized attention. And by the way, I'm just randomly putting you guys up here. So if you don't want to be up here, you can just put yourself down. It's fine. Because I don't know who does that. But if you don't want to be put out, just let me know. I'm just literally clicking buttons. But I want to make it not just of value, but like one of the best learning experiences you've ever had. Because I know what it's like to learn and when it's fun. And when it's fun, the amount of learning that you can do. Think about it like when they tell you to like put that stuff on your face for, closing your pores, right? You want to open your pores. And we want to create like an environment where you can learn, and it's not like waiting for people to like learn how to use GitHub, because that will be a mini workshop. So that won't be a problem. We won't have to cover that. We won't have to cover NPM, MVP, run dev. Shout out to Sharon. We won't have to cover things like that because we'll have a workshop called NPM what the fuck, and help people learn. Rather than, I can't even tell you, Sarah, without naming names, right? What we don't want to do is do that. But people have messaged me, and I know I told most of you this, so it's not news. And they're just like, it's slow. Like, why so slow? And it's like, what's the option? Move fast? People don't know what's going on. Some people do. Move slow. People like Sharon are like, snooze fast. I want to move faster. Because she can. And that's okay. People are on different levels. So we need to meet everyone at their own level. And that's what this redesign is really mainly focused on. And hopefully it becomes easier for you guys to figure out what you want to do. And like what you want to learn. Because then you'll be able to choose. Like the things that matter to you. So like, for example, everyone here, in theory, because of you've been here for a while, everyone here could go, in theory, work for it as an independent contractor for a corporation and do some AI stuff for them. Like everyone's capable. But maybe you don't even know what to do next. Like, how do you do that? And so we'll even have workshops like that. And there'll be mini workshops instead of 6-week courses. Does that make sense? Think about it like, who went to summer camp? Did anyone go to summer camp when they were a kid?
Every year.
Okay, when you got there and it was like, here's what's going on. Here's the agenda and the events that are happening. And you don't have to go to all of them. Like, you don't have to go to like the painting of the rocks if you don't want to. But it's an option because maybe Sarah does want to paint rocks and Ross does not. And Sharon wants to play volleyball. What if all of those things can happen? That's why summer camp is cool. So I'm designing this more like, not bite-sized, because they're like an hour, but smaller, targeted, focused workshops rather than 6-week programs that require you to like do homework that you don't even want to do.
But can I say something?
You can
I
say
know. I mean,
can say
I just want to say, the beauty was that we were pulling through from start to finish, which we're then not going to have. So, I mean, there are always downsides to everything. There are advantages and disadvantages, and I don't want to say that this goal is a disadvantage, but it is just the fact that people are going to have little bits and pieces that they have to stitch together themselves, whereas beforehand we had the whole thing.
So we're actually still going to have it, just not like 1 week won't bleed into another. They'll just work with each other. So if we were building, let's say, hold on one second.
What do you think?
If you were building like a video game, right? How you couldn't do that in 6 weeks, anyways. You couldn't do that in 2 weeks either. You couldn't do it in 1 hour. So like, what if you focused on characters for a week? finished it, had a lineup of characters, and then focused on environments. And now you have characters and environments. So for me, it is kind of like you're pulling through if you're staying along. But if you're not joining all of them, then it's a little disjointed, I guess. But you're saying you think the 6 weeks is like the fun of the race, essentially, to the end.
I can just imagine that it's going to be harder for people to participate if you have all these pieces scattered a bit. You know what I mean? But as when we were doing it on a Wednesday, we were doing a full 5-hour class. It's just different. I'm not going to say that it's bad, but I'm just thinking that, it's going to be more scattered and maybe people won't be able to do everything. Whereas you were forced to do that Wednesday and you were there for hours and you just had to go through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's people that didn't actually go through it and skip Wednesdays and then come the third week and be like, catch me up. And it's like, how do you even begin to do that?
Makes sense. Yeah, you're right.
How do you even do that? And then you go watch the replays and it's like so much to like digest. 2 weeks, 10 hours.
Just to jump in, here's the thing, and having 2 different tracks and piecemeal kind of thing, you can still set a deadline. Nothing focuses your attention like facing a deadline in the morning, right? And I think for many people, when you had those seasons and pushed through, there was an expectation. I'm done with 5 weeks and I actually have to present this to my peers. But I want to remind folks that in season 8 and season 7, no one did their homework. In season 8, we only had one person, and that was Kev.
And not many people have the other end of that, but
yeah. So I mean, it can go both ways, and the reason we didn't have people going over the final finish line is because some of the information was over their head and they got frustrated. So when you're teaching a whole group of people, like a Montessori classroom, everybody is at different levels and you have different stations. And sometimes you have to stay at one station longer than the others. If you're trying to, learn the multiplication table, you might stay there longer than, the geometric table. But ultimately, the cool thing I think that will help is that you do have the ability to push yourself and set those deadlines and have accountability with the people that you're taking the classes with. So for instance, I will use Starboss as an example. If she and I both want to get through this class and want to have something to present, you could work together in tandem and create a project and force each other. It's like having a gym partner that will help you, lift the barbell when you need to, or just show up at 6 a.m. Those are one of the things that is very difficult with self-learning or self-initiated learning or hack schooling in general, is discipline. During COVID.
I just think it's not a regular workshops hour where you're attending at 9 a.m.
Absolutely, that's accountability right there.
That you're not fully being accountable because you don't want to be, and that's okay. Everyone's an adult, so we shouldn't subject everyone to something they may or may not want to do. What if we, the idea is to create a collaborative environment where people can learn of any age, of any discipline, of any need. And so that's what AI Mastery is going to do. It's going to allow you to learn what you need to learn, give you the opportunity to learn it when you want to learn it, and not stick you somewhere for 5 hours. Because maybe it'll be 2 parts. And maybe the first part's Monday and the second part's Tuesday. See, before, Sharon, it would have to be like Wednesday and then next Wednesday. Now it could be Monday part 1, Tuesday part 2. So it's different.
One of the other things that we struggled with is that...
Wait, Starbucks not a real hand? Like a physical hand?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. I don't know how to work this platform. So I'm like, I guess I'll just go in there and put my hand up. I guess for me, I think, it's hard for me to have persistency through 5-hour classes just because my medical condition, it has nothing to do with my willpower or my wanting for that. And it is hard for me to go back through 5 hours of recording just to find maybe a small section of where I might be struggling with like a concept or an idea I might not have understood, like on the 4.5 hour mark or something like that, which so and being able to have more module driven things, it'll be good to have like more uh the ability to have more micro successes, which are good for motivation, like to stack the successes versus trying to take like a big huge thing and be like, okay, like in 6 weeks I gotta like understand this giant concept and I understand how it functions and how it interrelates to one season to the next season, and it does stack over time. But it's like you got, like, when you on ramp and you're on ramping into like your first season as CRMs and you don't even, like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? And then that's like a huge component for a business operation. So it's something you have to really understand in order to get all the other stuff, right? But so I think it'll be good for people who are just maybe new. And then, I mean, I guess my question is, can you test out? Is it self-paced in that way? Can you just focus on like, a specific area that you may feel like you just want to shore up a little bit more? Like, I mean, I'd like a little bit more information, like in that kind of way. And then how are we going to be able to keep our community like still thriving, like going, hey, where are you at, what are you working on, like are we going to do that like on a weekly, or like what's that going to look like? So that's kind of where I'm at. I like it. And as far as like being forced to push through something, I can't really tell my medical condition that you're always going to be primed for the pump at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night, because I just never know what that's going to bring. I can't put expectations of being able to perform in that kind of way. Um, so it's just a different learning process. And so I guess I'm looking forward to it, and then to getting a little bit more information in regards to a few of those things that I brought up. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so you're welcome, and I definitely can give you information. And just for your own like knowledge and sanity, guys, like when I learn new things, I don't sit and learn it for an elongated period of time. I will do what's known as a sprint, and I will sit with my team. We will sync together, and we will figure out who wants to do what, and we will learn something very quickly. Things don't have to be elongated. I personally feel like when you do that, you actually lose the things you're learning in week 1 by week 5. Personally, I don't think it like coordinates all the way through. So I agree with smaller, but doesn't just mean they're going to be like bite sized, super small. Like you could have a 3-part workshop Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that lasts for 3 hours total. Because humans work better when information is fresh, but they also don't work well when they're like tired or overworked.
But they have to invest more time, more days, if that makes sense. Because I don't know what everybody else thinks about it, but I can't just spend every day doing the thing with you guys. I'm just saying.
You know what, Sharon? Most people won't be able to.
Yeah, so you're not required to go to every single thing, but the things that are beneficial to you, like a buffet, you choose the food you want. You don't choose the food you don't.
I understand, but how are people going to finish a project that way? That's all I'm talking about. Unless you guys are just planning to do little bite-sized things, right? Because before we did a full project. If it's different, then that's okay. But if we're supposed to work on a full project and we get these we have to participate, right? And if it's spread across more days, then I guess that most likely people will not be able to attend all the days, and then they're going to miss out again.
Well, so it'll be different even if you miss out, because it'll be recorded in real time with sound, with everything. In addition, there'll be 2 tracks. So maybe someone like you wants to take the other track, which is longer, less sessions, but longer sessions. And that's the cool part. You could take like a different track and then also go back to the other one if you want. Like, it doesn't matter.
It's
I
also
think,
more work for you guys, right?
yes and no, because it'll be more controlled. We do well with controlled. What I don't do well with is when every single person, like 40 people, are in a different spot. That's kind of difficult.
You know, just to kind of bring this up, okay? So we mentioned the analogy of camp, right? I went to Interlochen and I went to Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp. There were 4 things that you had to go to every morning. You had to be there at breakfast. You had to stand up. They had their little sing-songy thing. You had to turn in at night, or at lunchtime, and then you had a concert at night. But in between all of that time, you had practices, you had
Yeah,
separate
sorry, you're
rehearsals, you had everything else.
you just like nudged my brain. Okay, so I forgot
Yes,
to mention.
we are going to have
There
get-togethers with everybody.
We're gonna have like flagship public courses, just like we were. They're just not gonna be drawn out and super long, and they're not gonna be designed in a way where you need to commit a bunch of time outside of it. It's just gonna be a little bit different, and we're not gonna have the next morning. We have AI mastery, and we'll have catch-up calls, but they won't ever end. So like there won't be a break. They're always gonna be. We'll always have the courses that we're gonna offer. Then there'll be mini workshops. So it's like more, not less, essentially.
What Ross is trying to explain in a kind of interesting way. Your Wednesday night class, you're going to have one. You will have kind of a project. You'll have that weekly thing that holds you accountable, and that's that. But there are
I'll
tracks.
give you an example.
Yes, go ahead.
This is a good example. So let's say, Sharon, it's Wednesday. The course starts. It runs from 6 to 8, let's say, right? Which is what you would need to get somewhere. It takes me about 1 to 2 hours to really get somewhere in coding, right? Meaningfully. Now, the extra 2 hours, do you know that most of the time it's like tech support helping? If you really break out one of the sessions out of the 5 hours, it's like 2.5 hours of real stuff and then time helping and configuring. So what we're going to do different is if you have any issues, you can come right over to AI Mastery as soon as the live session ends, and we're there to help you. It's not a continuation session. It's for people that need extra help.
Yeah, I understand. It's just not for me. Because how do you just get the project started and it takes an hour?
No, I don't think you understand. So we're still going to have the Wednesday classes. Will
Okay.
be continual towards the end project. We also will have workshops every single day.
Okay.
That are different skills doing different things.
Because you know how hard it is to start a project even in VS Code. I mean, I'm sitting here, I've been coding all day. I didn't get very
I know.
far. So I'm just saying from that perspective, we're not going to get far.
But we will, because we're going to do the same exact thing.
Okay.
We're just not going to spend 2 hours with people that never used VS Code before having GitHub issues. That'll be reserved for after, in AI Mastery, in a live, separately.
Okay. So okay, now I understand. So you're taking all the beginner stuff out of it and you're giving the beginners a place to go to do all of that. But everything else just stays the same.
Correct.
Kind of. Oh, okay.
And we're introducing entirely new classes with our partners at Cisco. So you guys will be able to get certified in various different things that you decide. So if you want to go for cybersecurity and just put that on your resume, you'll be able to do that. There'll be open class registration for over 25 different classes that you normally would have to pay for. It's all going to be free.
And we do them just by ourselves. We can do them at our own pacing. So
You got to do it at your own pacing until the end. And then we have to give you the actual certificate of completion that you actually can use, like when you're getting employment or for your resume. And then we're also going to have live instruction classes. And I'm going to let you in on the first one. You ready for this? It's modern use of AI, and it's backed by Cisco certification. And I'm going to do it live. So that's live instruction. So that means you will have to attend. And it'll be broken up across, let's say, 6 weeks, just like the Wednesday classes. But that one will give you an actual certification. So that's one of the major cool new things that are going to happen. that some of the classes we run will result in certification.
Ross, I think it might be helpful for folks to have kind of like a schematic chart so that they understand when they have to be there. Because even when you
Yeah,
go
of
to
course.
camp,
It's
you have
all
a
figured out. We're giving you all that information, and all the self-paced
Cool.
courses are 6 months. Can you imagine you guys get 6 months? And then if you're like, I need more time, we hit a button and you got 6 more months.
I didn't start the HTML course.
That's okay.
I'm still trying to figure out if it's even useful for me, but yeah.
Well, it's all knowledge is useful, and getting certified is always useful.
Yeah, but I don't know
So if
where
it's easy
to
for you,
put this
you
HTML.
just-
Yeah.
you could hit next and just take the test if you know it all. And then you
I don't
can-
know it all, but I just don't know. But it doesn't matter. That's not, nobody cares about.
Well, you can try
I
and take
care
the
or not.
test. And if you take the test and pass, and you just need to pass, it doesn't matter what you get. You get certified without doing the course
That's
at
not
all.
the reason. I'm just saying HTML, AI generates HTML, and I just build in PHP. I don't have anything to do with HTML. That's all. That's the reason why.
Yeah,
Not, but
and
that's all.
And you don't have to take it. But let's say you wanted to get a job doing coding or something, these things would be very helpful to have on your resume.
So you're saying HTML just also for normal other things is just important to have.
Yeah, it's just good to get some like actual training that's not AI.
I just don't want to waste my time. That's all. This time is,
Well,
If you-
Sharon, to give you an inkling, so my son graduated with a computer science degree and an economics degree, dual. It has been absolutely beyond difficult. He did land a job and everything else. Everything they wanted him to show, GitHub page, all of the things that you forked, but also other things. Are you proficient? Because guess what? Vibe coding is not going to do it, right? Yes, it gives us a leg up, but if you don't read Python, you don't read HTML, you don't read whatever the underlying core language is, that is becoming a problem because more and more folks are understanding, wait a second, this is, you obviously know it because you work with it every day, that these models are bullshit sometimes, pardon my French, but that's the way it is. And so what the companies that are trying to, elevate people that they want to work with, because that's the other dirty little secret, is that people are graduating. Those computer scientists that graduated from U of M never touched AI. Imagine that, right? They were not allowed to. So it's kind of one of those double-edged swords. So you have people like Cisco, you have people Microsoft, Google, you have even Tesla, Palantir, you have NVIDIA. All of these places want to work with free agents. They don't want to have employees necessarily too. So you have to have kind of both. And it sucks. I mean, we had people yelling and screaming about being in Slack channels. And I said, well, how are you going to manage a team?
I understand that. For me, it's like I would rather learn Python than HTML. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's just what I mean. I don't want to waste my time with things that, that's all. But
you bring up a really good point. So like over the next few days, we're going to release all the courses, and you could literally register for Python and then the second version and then get certified in Python and actually learn the way you're supposed to learn. And you could do it, guess what? On your timetable with no one telling you when to do it.
Because those are things that are now needed for what we do. That's all I'm saying. HTML is like, I don't care.
Well,
I
Sharon,
spin up a Cloudflare page in 2
but
seconds.
there's people that don't even know like B tags and P tags. And this is really for them to get their first grasp of it, but like in a controlled way. But rest assured, we got some really hard courses if you want to take them that'll be available. And you could feel free to get certified because honestly, you would have to pay for the certification outside of this environment that we're creating in AI Mastery.
Yeah.
So those are going to be self-paced. So you'll be able to pick and choose the ones you want.
I'm just saying in a machine learning world and an AI world, it's Python. That's very, very important. It's not that it's harder. I don't want hard courses. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm 47 now. do I have to do all of this stuff? Does it
Well,
make sense
try
in my
harder.
case? Someone
I
else might think differently. If we have a 20-year-old here that's like, I just want to go and learn everything.
Yeah.
But
No,
I'm
you're
very
right.
selective with what I learn because, I have a business and everything. So I'm just very selective.
Yeah, and you get that opportunity to be. That's part of what the new formulation of what we're doing is you get that opportunity to choose your next route. And by the way, part of what you just said is another reason why we're even doing this is because every human being needs to understand Python for what's about to happen. Python is the way you make AI do stuff. And like we all need to learn this. This is like the future language. And if you don't know it, we're gonna have like Python, what is it? Python Don't Be Scared workshop. Like we're gonna have the best, most fun workshops no matter what your skill level is. And so someone like you, Sharon, will get the ability to take more advanced workshops and go for more advanced certifications because that's something you want to do.
I'm not saying that this is more advanced. I love beginner stuff, but for me, it's just, does it make sense for me in today's day and age to learn HTML? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's true.
That's all.
I don't think there's, can I just chime in for a second? I
course.
don't think, for one, all of our time is valuable. Everybody sitting in this room has different goals and agendas and focuses on what they want to do with their time that they have left. And I appreciate your cognizance of I'm this age and my time is very important. I'm 61 and I think every single day is very important for my own personal reasons, which may or may not impact other people who are listening here. We all have our own focuses. And it kind of sounds to me, and I may be hearing this wrong, but it kind of sounds to me that if you want to learn Python, you can learn Python. If you want to learn some other thing and it's listed there as one of the potential certificate tracks or there's information on it, you can go and study that and get those goals accomplished. So I don't think like it's necessarily a bad thing because we're all at different levels. I can't tell you how many times and how many hours I've sat and listened to multiple questions on the same topic or the same question that's been answered, or I may not understand, that's gone over and over and over again, listening in on the 5 hour classes. And some of this stuff, or a lot of it, I don't even get, but I'm just in there trying to learn for understanding. And hopefully one day I'll be able to understand it and put all the pieces together. So we all put value to our time in different ways, and our time is important as it should be. And it sounds like we have more choices for all different levels. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not understanding it right.
You understand it 100% clearly and perfectly. That's exactly what we're doing. And then
Okay.
there's going to be a class coming up that is not like buffet pick and choose. We're putting it on. You can choose to attend. It's not forced, but it's going to be a really awesome class. It's going to be not we're not going to even be operating in seasons. It'll just be like what we're doing, and it'll be a name. It's not going to be numerical. And I am going to tell you what we're going to do next here because everyone's dying to know. So you will know in about 5 minutes. But it definitely is more choice. So someone like you, Star Boss, can choose which modules or workshops you want to take. But then, of course, you're going to attend the Wednesday for like the new stuff, the new class we're going to be teaching live. But then when it's Thursday, you could actually be in a workshop learning cPanel. And that's the beauty of it, is that it's not like Wednesday to Wednesday, we don't see each other. And from Wednesday to Wednesday, you got to do stuff on your own that you may or may not know how to do. And then there's going to be not as much, so less frequently because of the amount of hours. The advanced track will be for people who want to do things that are more technically challenging, but it'll be kind of doing the same thing. So it's like you can build an igloo or you can build a condo. One of those things is a lot harder, but they're in the same theme. And that's what's important.
I didn't mean to say that only my time is valuable. I think I think I either said it wrong or I got misunderstood. I'm just saying in today's day and age, it's just important to learn what is needed now. And the reason why I say I'm 47, I don't have much time left. That's all. That's what I meant with it. I'm not putting myself before anybody and saying my time is super valuable. It's just my age. There are certain things that I don't have to learn anymore. I need to focus on what is needed in 2025 and thereon after. And since we're in an AI age, that's why I'm saying HTML is not so important to me, Python, because this is the age of AI, not
Yeah.
because I'm special.
So then you can just not follow that track.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
I
that's,
mean, you know, that's it. I mean, you just make
I
a different choice. Yeah.
I do understand that, but I just wanted to say that it would be cool to just have things that are fitted for today's day and
And
age.
that's exactly why we're doing this, because there's people that actually this is their next first day, so the morning after they just figured out what ChatGPT was. So now they're like just freaking out. They don't know what to do. And like if they were to come to AI Mastery, would they be able to do one of the workshops? That's one of the things we're really focusing on. And then we're also hyper focused on people that are doing it right now and are very advanced. And we're going to have advanced tracks for people that want to really take building automations or doing things to the next level. And it will be marked advanced. And it will be marked nothing if it's not advanced. So there's not like many levels, just 2. And it's just about frequency, number 1. And there's going to be multiple workshops every day. So every week, you're going to have something every day that you might want to come to, you might not. And that's okay. But we're going to make a lot more mini workshops available in addition to our elongated Wednesday course. If that makes sense. That is the plan going forward.
Sounds good.
And also, we're going to have a place where you can request a workshop, which is the coolest thing ever. So you're going to be like, I want to learn this. And then, boom, it's a workshop next week. So not only you, but everyone else in AI Mastery can benefit as well. Because if you need to learn it, someone else does. And instead of adding like Stripe on the 4th Wednesday of a 6-week course, integrating Stripe could be a 1-hour workshop, hyper focused on the important things that you need to know. Just like we just had a workshop about Pixio, we highlighted like how to do one thing. If we do that a lot, people will be able to explore all of it with a quality of exploration rather than spending 5 hours and just talking about a few different models and not trying all of them. And I'm excited for the future of AI Mastery. I think it's going to be the coolest community in AI because everyone is a part of it and everyone is able to change the trajectory of it. So if you wanted to learn SEO, we can have an SEO workshop with a splash of how to use AI to do it. And I think in this day and age, it's going to be so important to actually go through this stuff with people because there's going to be more new builders than ever. We are in the craziest time that I've ever seen as an engineer. And it's so insane and cool, honestly, from my perspective, someone that has been doing this like way pre-AI, sitting with code for hours, like with my eyes and just being like, which one is the one that's wrong so I could delete it and the code works. It's insane what's happening right now. The amount of new builders every morning, every minute is just astonishing. Vibe coding changed the game forever because now people can actually start learning quickly. So what we want to do is facilitate the quick learning powered by AI, of course, and help people tackle some of these really important things that they're going to be facing as vibe coders. For example, like security, things like building something out for production. So when 200 users come, it doesn't break. But like also, what happens if 300,000 users come? Hi, Mimi. What happens if it totally breaks and you can't accept payment anymore? Like then what? Not great. So it's important to learn, I think, a lot of this stuff, even down to like building your own brand or securing contracts or making contracts, my favorite topic. So much to learn. I learned a lot, and we've taught a lot of big range of topics. And the next topic we actually have never touched on X, which is really cool.
One of the things that you brought up, Ross, is really important too,
I said
is
something
that
important.
because folks are working, hi Mimi, working on various projects, it gives you the opportunity to kind of look over other people's shoulders and build, you know, out like building blocks. One of the things that we struggled with on Wednesday nights is that we did have a lot of people that were overseas, right? And we lost them because they just couldn't spend the time overnight. And then they would show up on Thursday morning and it would be condensed down. And they missed the nuances. And like Starboss had mentioned, going back and listening to a 5-hour transcript to find the nuances of, let's say, how Ross taught, as opposed to Alisher, was a difficult ask for a lot of folks that had a 9-to-5 job. So, what's so cool about having people that are building in different capacities? We have a lot of creatives that don't want to build websites; they want to build Unity video games. We have a lot of students that don't give a flying flip about an app unless it has to deal with their robot, and Python is needed for their Raspberry Pis and things like that. So you have a lot of people that have a lot of interests. And what's interesting about having an AI Mastery Academy, a big umbrella, is that you can take out as much as you want, or take as little as you want. If you want those certifications, your track is going to be very labor intensive. You're going to have a big haul to do it. There are some people like Sharon who's burned boats, man. She's all in and she's running a business and she's doing her thing. Julie is in the same boat. They're not going to have, a 9-to-5 open schedule to kind of, eat little tiny sandwiches at lunchtime, and do it in little nuggets, right? Sometimes you want to power through it and, get through everything. That's why we had some people that would just come on Thursdays. They never came on Wednesday because it was like, I can fit in an hour and a half and I can, do the point click and I have a proficiency that I would understand that. But we do have people that are like seniors in high school. They're not going to go to college. They need those certificates and they are in pure study mode. So they are going to be in beast mode when a lot of us are just going to be kind of looking at them going, what are you on, man? Because, they're able to accomplish a lot and they're in that mindset. I think a lot of people forget that when you're in the mindset of studying, especially on Wednesday nights, you meet on Wednesday night, you have a schedule, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Well, kids that have been in high school, they're used to going from class to class to class. Each class is different, 45 minutes, each little nugget. And that whole day, stacks on. And then after an allotted 160 days or whatever it is, to get their diploma, that's how it works. They have to kind of toggle their workload. And we forget about that because as adults, we're not in that system. We're not going to class. We don't have a lunchtime. We don't have recess. We don't have a teacher bugging us to turn in our work. We have a pass fail and that's it. So what we're trying to do is equip you, enable you, and also inspire you in every possible way to be successful and get the accreditations and certifications that are going to help you build your businesses and build your core competencies to reach the goals that you have. We're going to have some people here that they just want skills to manage their teams as an employee. We have other people here that are the employer and they need to understand what it is that they have to acquire, what skill sets that they have to acquire. And Alisher is correct. HTML is still very important. There are some other languages that are going extinct, COBOL and other things that a lot of retiring folks are asking young kids to learn. You know, it's kind of, you know, when you think of the banking system, or you think of our defense missile system, or even our space system. Our space system is run on LabVIEW. You know, it's a completely different ecosystem. And we have to learn how to expand our neural plasticity, as Starbucks says, to kind of acquire new skills. And so hopefully we can all hold each other's hands, because you know, learning new skills at certain ages is hard, and finding time to go to the gym, you know, is hard. You know, having a traveling buddy helps. And so we're trying to accommodate many different ways of learning. We have a lot of neurodiverse people in this ecosystem. A lot of people that are untraditional learners. They do not thrive in a brick and mortar. They do not thrive in a cubicle. You know, they're digital nomads, right? They're people that have chosen different walks of life. And that is something that the entire world is dealing with. You know, the world has turned upside down. Education, as we know it, has turned upside down. Finance has turned upside down. Medical has turned upside down. And AI has facilitated that awakening and this new shift for all of us. And so, you know, it is kind of an awkward, weird feeling, you know, but we're hoping that by creating this ecosystem, this camp for special people who want to learn and do special things, right? That you're going to come here and you're going to feel that it's time well spent, and that you go home with new skills. I know that when I went to Interlochen, Interlochen was a lot tougher than Blue Lake. Blue Lake is where kids went just to be there and learn how to be in band. Interlochen is where you learned how to be in the orchestra. And, you know, you would spend 8 or 9 hours in a practice cube, like cabin, literally. And it was rough, but every person there who stepped foot in camp understood, I'm here because I want to compete. I'm here because I want to be the best. And not all people were destined for Interlochen. Some people were perfectly cool with going to, you know, Blue Lake, where there wasn't that kind of showmanship or competition, and they still learn stuff. It was just different people. You know, some people are hobbyist type, you know, guitar players. They want to just know the craft, and other people want to be the center stage or conducting the orchestra. So hopefully we're helping everybody understand that music's cool. You know, staying with the analogy, learning how to hack your own education is an important skill for all of us at every age. If you don't use it, you will lose it. And mobility absolutely 100% matters. And having those certifications, you'll never understand how important it is to have validation. There was a lady in our last class, I'm not going to give her name, but she was a stay-at-home mom. And, you know, sometimes a part of you is erased when you're out of the workforce, when you're not in a traditional role. And when you go back into the workforce, the first thing they ask you is, well, what about this 15-year gap? What did you do? What did you learn? And she's like, I raised my children. They speak 5 languages. They do this, that, and the other thing. But that doesn't matter. They want to see on paper what you've actually built, right? We're trying to help you build out your transcript, your portfolio, your track record, so that you can go out into public confident that you have the skill set to succeed. So ultimately, AI is going to play a big role in that. AI is going to be your cohort. It's going to be your collaborator. And so hopefully this kind of method will help you. And Cisco has a huge, I can't wait for you to explore what they have at your fingertips. It's amazing. But it comes with golden handcuffs. You have to be disciplined in order to learn that stuff. It's no different than, I know many of you are familiar with the Great Classics, or even free academy through Harvard or MIT. Anybody can grab that education. The problem is not everybody's going to park their butt in the chair and do it. So what we're trying to do is help you hold your hand, keep you accountable, so that you do get the education that you are all seeking, if that makes sense.
So we got to learn HTML. Yeah, got it.
Poor, poor Sharon. You don't have to, because
Well, I mean, the problem, it's a lot. It's just freaking
Here's the
a
thing,
lot.
you don't
And I
have-
try to save as much time as I can because it's just freaking a lot.
Well, what I
that's
would
all.
say
You don't
is
have to eat the elephant in one bite.
It's
you
just,
you're allowed to
much.
like fail it and retry. So I think it'd be like a fun experiment, see how much you know.
it's just the time, right? If, we're meeting here, we're meeting every day. It's a lot. I'm just saying, maybe I don't know. For me, it's just really a
Well,
lot.
there are
It's
other
tough.
ways to
It's
do
really
this.
tough.
When you have a schedule like when you are a solopreneur, time management makes or breaks your business. Every minute is accounted for. But there are ways that you can use the mechanical advantage. So, for instance, um, like Ross said, you can take the class first, see if you can pass the test right outright and get past it. Personally, I never did that. I got through one of them.
I just want to say one thing. Like,
I'm not good at HTML. I'm not saying that I'm good at it. I'm just trying to
wait, hold on.
the
So
time. So I can't just
one
do the
thing,
test. I'll fail.
like you can, there's going to be maybe 30 tests. You're not even expected to do all of them or any of them. It's your choice. Like there's one about business, like running a business. Maybe no one needs that, and then maybe one person does, and so they'll take that self-paced course. That won't be a workshop you have to attend. Neither is HTML. You can do it or not do it. It just helps you understand. It's not going to teach you like every single thing in HTML. Like AI is going to help you with that, but it'll give you a baseline and some building blocks and foundation not related to AI that will help you. And even if you don't want to take it, you don't have to. Again, it's totally not a thing that you have to do. It's an offering that you can take advantage of. Buffet. It's just a buffet.
The other thing too is that you can use AI to create a curriculum for your specific goals. Because here's the thing, all of us are hoarders when it comes to digital stuff, trinkets and trash. During the hackathon, we told a number of people, you do not need to have everything. You don't need to have every color in the world in your paint palette. You just need 3 or 4, right? And you can fudge the rest of it. The point is that one of the things that we struggled with is that, we were creating classes that were very relevant. They were very timely. But if you didn't have the underpinnings, what ended up happening is you had a bunch of people that were really frustrated because they had a final project, but they couldn't maintain it because they didn't understand the workings of it. It's like getting a whole house and, inheriting a house, and you don't know how to turn on the furnace, or you don't know how to rewire, the garbage disposal. There are certain things that you have to have the underpinnings in order to have a successful business, and you can't really wash over them. But that being said, we don't know what your experiences are. Like Sharon, you learn really quick. You've burned your boats. You've done all these things. Are you going to be building websites for other people? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on how you're building out your business. You're building as an editor of a magazine. You have timely articles. You have to hunt and gather for that information. You have to build an aggregator in order to get, quality information for your customers and the folks that are going to be paying you to have advertising in your magazine because it's awesome, right? You have that. That's your core goal. I have my 9 to 5 too. But here's the beauty about a 9 to 5. It's 40 hours a week. What you do with the other 128 hours is up to you. And as a private business owner, solo business owner, I know that everybody's laughing in the background. I don't have spare time just to, sit and think on the toilet, right? But the point is that you can use AI to help curate a curriculum that tailors and fits to you. I'll give you one other, for instance. Back in the day, if you were a assembly line worker in Detroit, right, you ran the assembly lines. You worked a hard day, and I'm talking 60 hours a week, and it was heavy manual labor. And they would go home, and they had a 5-foot, and that's what it was called, a 5-foot library. It took up 5 feet of shelf space, and it was from Harvard University. People during that time period were more well educated than at any time in history, because they would come home, they'd open up the book, and it had, hey, today is your 15-minute lesson. And at the end of the year, you would have gone through the entire 5-foot book, and you would have had a Harvard education, a liberal education, meaning all of the humanities, all of the sciences, all of the math, everything. And these people seldom ever finished high school, right? But the point is that they valued that education. So they were going to come home, they ate dinner, they read their little snippet of whatever was set aside for them. And in many ways, AI is helping us create those tailored curriculums to the places and how we learn. One of the things that I was learning from Starboss, many people know that Starboss was a professor. So understanding rubrics, understanding the hierarchies, understanding how all of these classes fit together. It is one of the things that we as students don't really pay attention to. I know I didn't really care until I had kids and I had to create those curriculums, and making sure that they didn't fall through the cracks or that they didn't have a gap in their understanding. So I wasn't going to throw them in the deep end of the ocean to learn calculus without having a background in geometry and algebra and trigonometry ahead of time, because their mind wasn't ready to receive that. So I know that that's a long and drawn out question or comment, concern, but I will tell you, we want the best for you, and we also want accountability and validation, because you know what? You are spending time, you're eking out time in your day, you are tithing your first fruit to yourself. You are giving that best time, those best effort into building yourself, and it's really powerful, it's really special. And a lot of folks that are sitting in these rooms or listening today have zero validation. They're building a business and none of their family members understand it. They think they're absolutely crazy. They think that it's a waste of time, that these ideas are just, fruitless, that you shouldn't be spending time learning how to program a robot. You don't even have a robot. I will tell you, my mom started medical school at 50. And every single one of her professors looked at her in the face and said, "Why are you here? You're never going to graduate. You're never going to practice medicine. You're too old." And she said, "I'm here because I can." And she did graduate, and she got her lab coat, her little white jacket, and her initials on it. And you know what? She can practice when and where and how she wants. And that's what we want for you. We want that validation that, you do have core competencies. And I will tell you some of the things that you came up with over the course of the nine semesters that we had, or seasons. Some of the things that people made were absolutely outstanding. Some of those students we never saw again. Why? Because they were busy making millions of dollars. You didn't know it, but that's what they were doing. They earned a living, or they got rid of one way of earning a living, a job, and found their work and their passion. So hopefully we can do that for you. And I know that a lot of people are looking out for it. Cisco is really excited to have you as students, and there are more that are going to come out of the woodwork. They're going to offer you opportunities to do amazing things, and hopefully they'll spark a joy in you, and you will go ahead and go trick-or-treating and gather those classes to become better people. Because you know what? Life is always moving forward. It's always learning. And the minute that you stop, and you stop moving and you stop progressing, you're putrefying, you're rotting, and rusting, and not going to go any further. So that's just the way we're thinking about it. But I do want to commend each and every one of you for being here tonight, because I'm excited about this. And it's not just because I love Nick Alisher and Ross. I spent 22 years raising my kids and hacking their education. And I can tell you, when paired against their counterparts in a traditional brick and mortar school, I just want that kind of education for each and every one of you. I want you to be able to have that freedom to learn the way that you learn, and to learn the things that interest you and are your passion filled about. Somebody else's curriculum is forced fun. You're never going to own that information because it's not interesting to you. I did not want to build a SAS. I hated it. I hated every minute of showing up to that class. I will tell you point blank, it hurt my head to build a SAS. I had to build it, not because, I wanted to it out in the world. I had to for myself, for my own motivation to understand why I hated it. It's the same reason why I never change my own oil. Once you change it yourself, you're like, this is messy. I'm going to pay somebody else to do it. But that's the point, is that sometimes we have to take those things to know what we don't like to do too. So at any rate, Ross, digital nomads, yes, that's what we are. So if you have questions, definitely raise them now.
I would just say that was very well put together. It's true. We're also you're still gonna have the Wednesday courses that you should come to. If you can't, you can't. Same time, basically. It's gonna be the same time, same kind of thing, and we're gonna have different topics. They're not gonna be all related to AI, or there'll be different things that not some people won't like. Some people will be like, I never learned anything about this. I kind of want to try stuff. So we're going to still have these elongated sort of classes that are workshops that will also have support after for people with technical difficulties, rather than doing that live. Bless you. So I think it's going to be really great, and I'm really excited for what's about to happen next, because I'm just seeing the world change in a very interesting way. Like, people are vibe coding apps, then learning more about code, fixing it up, and then selling the code. So they look at it as $70 I put in VO credits, and I made $300. And then they do it again. And things like that are just a new way of doing things. Bless you. And I think that the world's going to change in such crazy ways, and the skill up is going to be so profound that there's going to be a multitude of different skills people are going to need to learn, and each person is going to have a different setup of skills they want to learn. No two people are going to be exactly the same. And that's what I've learned teaching all of you guys, hundreds of you, over many, many months, is that people have different wants, needs, tracks. And some people are like, I don't want to learn this, so I'm not going to come to that Wednesday. So by not coming to that Wednesday, you just miss out on the entire interaction, which now will never happen again. And the next big project we do, it's something that you literally can't even accomplish in 6 weeks, even if you were the best. And that's why it's going to be broken down, like I was explaining earlier, Sharon, into smaller gains, but you're still getting to the end of a project, but you're just not getting to the end of the entire project because it's massive to do in alone. So an example of that is what we're doing next. We're going to teach you guys something you probably know nothing about, but are interested at least a little bit. I feel like everyone is a little bit at least interested in this next topic. We're going to explore the world of 3D and Unity, and we're going to build a game. And we're going to learn what that looks like and how easy it actually is. And what's cool is there's people right now making millions of dollars on the iPhone and Android store with little bubble pop games from Unity. So you're going to learn how to actually use this free, completely open source game development platform. And you're going to learn with the training wheels and all the cool things that we're going to do. We have so much experience and over $10,000 of cool stuff from Unity to give you.
And immersive environments are super important, folks. When we think gaming, you're thinking of RPGs or Call of Duty or fill in the blank of whatever. Pick your poison, right? It's not just about gaming. It's also about the gamification. Because when you think of your future clients, your future client is someone that is a gamer, right? My surgeon who took out my gallbladder used a game control in another country, right? The kids that build the robots that I work with are gamers. We program in that way. So it's like when you're thinking about Unity in general, it comes in many formats and a lot
Well,
of
it's true, and it's not just it's
yeah,
not even games at all. Sometimes we built a web app with Unity, like it can compile to the web. So like imagine a cool experience on your website powered by WebGL. That's going to be one of the things we're going to go over, which is so cool. So you'll learn something new, and you'll also get the ability to build it for real and learn and actually learn the smaller concepts, and even down to like 3D models and how they work in Unity. It's actually really cool, and it really could run on any computer. So it's not like crazy, and it's powerful. And now with AI, I think it's even more crazy what you can do with Unity. And I'm gonna revisit that, like now, looking at because in Unity you can build your own plugins similar to WordPress. I don't know if you guys know that. So you can just make your own thing. And so what's happening right now is AI is fully infiltrated into Unity to the point that like you can have a brand thing and have like an AI in the experience. So like just an example for you, Sharon, you could have a virtual reading of like your blogs and a book in 3D that runs on your website without 3JS using WebGL. It's like a different tech. And so that's really cool, WebGL. It's really interesting because it blends the world between interactivity on the console or the computer to the web, which is really cool. It's actually how a lot of these vibe coded games are being built right now. And because of AI, you can now tell Unity what to do, essentially. They have their own AI. Think like Kilo Code, but like for Unity. And Unity is massive, and you're not going to learn it all in one shot. So we're going to just cover it in smaller sections where you can learn. And if you don't want to learn, you don't have to. Anyone in the world that like come to AI Mastery, they don't have to. But there's other workshops they can do in that time, if that makes sense. And so we're excited because Unity is really cool. And if you guys never used it, get ready because it's really, really awesome. And it's completely free. It's probably the best free gaming engine available. And I can tell you it's being used in 2025 because I was on vacation and I saw a Unity logo when one of the screens in the hotel area like lit up. So Unity is being used everywhere, not just for like video games. And I think it's a really cool topic. And I don't know if any of you ever tried it. Have you guys ever used Unity? Ever heard of it? It's probably the next biggest technology game platform under Unreal Engine, which is arguably more insane because it requires a lot of GPU and a good computer. Unity, on the other hand, does not. And it scales well with not the best PCs, which is why we chose to do it. And by the way, we've taught this in high schools and colleges, and it's so much fun. I think you guys are really gonna like it. And it's a skill you didn't have like yesterday. Now you have a place you can do things in 3D, which is really cool. Because 3D is kind of this weird disconnect. Like if you go make a 3D model, what do you do with it? Like with AI. How do you make it like dance, for example? And you know what I've really found very interesting, guys? Do you know if I take a 3D character of a bear, I bring it into Unity, and then I make it dance, right? I control the angle of the camera. So I can then use a recording, right? Or literally screen record, and then pass that to AI, things like that restyle video, and then tell it what I actually want, and it'll make it look super real and crazy because it had the reference video of your 3D model that you could have designed yourself.
Custom marionette.
Yeah. And it's really interesting how you can build these things. And I remember learning it, and it was so much fun. And if you've literally never even used Unity in your whole life, I think you're really, really going to like it. I can just say, if you go on your computer and you just type in Unity, you can see their website. It's absolutely awesome what they're doing. And I can't believe they are still for free, which is wild. And we have a team that we can add you to, so we're able to help you out and give you assets and things you may need along your building journey. But if you go to their website, you can see what they are. And it's really crazy because, imagine, and Sharon, I'm going to give you an example for you. Not that you have to build this, but I mean, if you did, it's totally in your wheelhouse. You like the music, the lo-fi and the meditation music. Imagine you made like an app called The Zone. And you're like, it's not on the computer though. It's on the Oculus. And when you're in there, it's like nice music, cool animations, and your magazine is right there. They can just pick it up on the floor and read the latest issue digitally. And you're like, well, Ross, how would I build that without testing it? And I'm like, well, Sharon, I have all of them. So if you build something, I will gladly live test it with you in the Oculus. And it's like, this is a new way of using the media. Like you understand how many people have an Oculus, guys?
But a question, Ross. So Unity is basically, if we want, because I've talked in the past of building a 3D app that works in Application Pro or whatever. So Unity is our way to get there.
That's your way, and
that's the only way.
That's the best way.
Okay.
It's easy. Awesome. Like you can take the harder route and like build it from scratch, or Unity builds apps for Windows, Xbox, PlayStation, Vision Pro, Oculus, computer, web, everything, mobile phones. It's crazy, absolutely crazy what it could do. Unity is very powerful, and it's completely free. And this is not like a sponsored live stream by Unity. We've literally worked with Unity. They've sponsored us in the past in schools, and we're bringing that environment and that learning here to you guys because it's probably one of the most valuable skills I've learned when it comes to like whether it's industry stuff with like 3D and CAD or like just brand experiences. Anything in the metaverse is obviously have to be a 3D world. This is how you do those kind of things. Things like spatial are built out of Unity. So when you think of like what spatial is, that's just someone's idea. Like, I want an app that makes worlds. How do you do that? Well, this is how you do that. And there's a lot to unpack here. And that's why we're going to do it in small chunks. But it's going to be so fun because it's something you guys have never done before. That's for sure. And it's so powerful. It's free, completely open source. And it's a whole new way for people to interact with your brand, your experience, your products. There's so many people that have Oculus. Like, you don't even understand. I literally have 10. So if I have 10, imagine how many people have more than one. And I think it's crazy to actually learn this stuff and be in a place where you understand how you can like quickly build a mobile app or quickly build a brand experience. Like, what if you can have all your magazines, Sharon, just in the Oculus? You could just download My LLM News and read the news and watch your videos on a 200-inch screen, your lives.
I mean, that's the future for all of us, right?
Yeah.
Because we are moving towards 3D, and I've been talking about that for the past couple of months with you. This is just the future, right? That's why I have this Three.js course that's 15 hours that I wanted to dive into, right? But it's like doing all of these things together, it's tough. I'm just being honest. I mean, it's just a lot of work, right? So that's the only reason why I said what I said. It's just crazy because Unity, HTML, this and that, learn Next.js. Oh, let's learn this. People, this is crazy. I'm just saying. It's crazy. And that's why I said, oh, the 20-year-old might be super excited. I'm old. I don't know if I can handle it all. That's all. I'm just being a little bit afraid. That's all I'm saying.
You don't have to be afraid.
Putting myself in a special place or so.
You will have the opportunity to not. You don't have to do everything. This Unity thing is going to be considered a flagship course that we're doing. So it's something that everyone could join in. It's not related to whether you're in AI Mastery or not. It's fully public. But then you're going to need to go to AI Mastery if you need help or technical support in any way, which you probably will. We'll have like group therapy sessions on how to debug a Unity issue. But it's going to be not overwhelming, and it's something you definitely could do. And remember, we've run this with 12 to 18-year-olds. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And this is not some like 85-hour course, and we've done this with 12 to 18-year-olds. I think it's even younger. We had them making Pokemon. They would take Pokemon cards. You know Pokemon, guys? So they would go in Unity and build the Pokemon in real life in the Unity program, and then in real life hold up the card to the camera, and the Pokemon would jump out of the card and do its superpower, like a hologram. And that was very young age. We taught them how to do this. So it's definitely possible with guidance, where you're not just like, what is all these 150 things do? But I do think it'll be fun. And you don't have to take the courses every day. Of course, people have jobs, lives, kids, things to do. They're just available for like someone who can't do it on Wednesday can catch something similar next week on Tuesday. Like this is the reason why we have the workshops. They're not meant to come to every single workshop. Unless, of course, you need to or you want to. But I would recommend coming to the Wednesday courses that we're going to have shortly. Those I would. And they're just going to be slightly different. So no morning after, because it's a lot easier to deal with it in AI Mastery and do a live. For the people that need it, and it doesn't have to be in the morning. It could be later that day. People are writing. Nice. But yeah, Sharon, remember, you don't have to take all of them. No one does. They're just there for you to pick which ones you do want. Maybe you want the Python one, and maybe you want cybersecurity. Maybe we do one that's called WordPress Speed, and you want to take that workshop because you want to make your WordPress move faster, because that's applicable to you. That's why there'll be these mini workshops around these different skills and different concepts. Then there's going to be these bigger projects like this Unity thing we're going to do. Does that make sense to everyone? How the new setup is going to work? Do you guys like it?
Affirmative, boss. I think folks are trying to wind down, but I'm excited. I'm excited. And like I wrote in the comments, this is a buffet. You don't have to sample everything, and you don't have to eat everything in one bite. You can go back many times. We just kind of gather at the restaurant on Wednesday nights. That's basically it.
And there'll be formal information coming out from us in AI Mastery and on Twitter, and as it like comes out, and we'll explain everything, where, when, how, but it will still be Wednesdays. So if you did have that time blocked off, you can definitely attend. But the morning after is going to be in AI Mastery, not on Twitter, because it's more of a tech support call and not really a space. So people that come in, what I've noticed, are a little confused. Like, what's happening here? Why are we all talking about problems? And I know Sarah's dealt with that, and she's just like, well, this is a class, actually. Hi. And then they normally just leave. So it's better to have it in a way where it's like more targeted to you guys and helping you. And I hope you guys attend the Unity course. It's going to be really fun, I think. I know I had fun learning it and teaching it to kids in schools. They found it really fun. And I think as adults, being able to communicate and build in that environment, given where we are, like right now with technology as people and like what's happening, I think it's super important. And if you wanted to make animations, for example, it's so cool. You can do this stuff in Unity. Like, you don't even need AI. Like, it's just animations on Mixamo, and you can tag them together. You know, we have a suit here. We used to put kids in a suit and make them do motion, and then take the motion and copy it to 3D models. And it's so cool to learn how to do this stuff, because a lot of people don't even know how to do it at all. That you could even make a video game in like 20 minutes and play it on your cell phone. Because we're talking like the things you play like while you're in the train or something. Like Brick Breaker. How hard do you think that is to make in reality? Not that hard. So the next classes, all the events are going to be up until the 16th. And then after the 16th, a new batch of classes will be put out on the events page. And if you're here and you're not in AM Mastery, what are you waiting for? Go to AM Mastery. It's free. There are some free events. Then if you join the premium classes area in AM Mastery, you should have an event probably every day. And so you're not expected to come to all of them, but they're all there and all replayable. So if you do want to go back and listen to one, you totally can do that. And we're going to release many Cisco courses. And so those are also totally optional. And you have like 6 months to do them. Unless it says instructor led, which you'll know. But yeah, this was like my huge, big announcement-ish. And more info is coming. And we're really excited, honestly, because this is probably the most interesting environment to learn I've seen on the internet, like on Twitter, social media. It's very focused and very real. This is how people learn collaboratively and not slowly, but thoroughly. And so having workshops let us do that and accomplish something thoroughly, which we're not able to do in just 5 hours for 6 weeks. And I really appreciate you all coming out to hang out for the meet and greet. I am really excited for the class to start, and I'm excited for our little workshops. And I think you guys are going to be able to do more and exceed in different ways than you may have thought that you couldn't or didn't even think of. And I think that's probably one of the best parts about this new change is you'll be able to request workshops and attend workshops that help sharpen the skills you want to sharpen. Not waste your time. That is incredibly valuable. Sharpening skills you're never going to use in your life. It's the one part of school that I didn't like. The idea was like you have to attend, chemistry, and you're like, I don't want to be a chemist. And it's like, well, you got to do it. And that's not what this is going to be like. And it took us running it a long time and reflecting on all the classes and really thinking about it as a team on how to make this a better experience rather than take anything away. And so we thought for a while about how we're going to do this, and we are now ready to actually take the plunge. And those of you asking, well, it seems like a lot. It is. Part of doing something like what we want to do means we have to make impact. We need impact that is like cataloged, impact that is recorded, and impact that is real. And part of our mission at the core of why we do what we do is to be able to, like Sarah says, equip and inspire people. It just
Starboss just said too, measurable. What we're looking for is the word that's measurable.
Yes, measurable, exactly. Because our partners and our sponsors and all of the supporters of our organization, they need to see this stuff happening in real time. And they need actual metrics that the stuff that they're doing is actually working. Like, why should any of the organizations that are working with us continue to work with us? What are we doing that makes this something that is worth investing into? And so this helps our partners understand the caliber of what we're doing by attempting to help everyone. And not just attempting, actually doing it. And we proved so many months that it's possible. But now that we know that it's possible, we're going to enhance it. And we're really excited. And that was what today's announcement was all about. And I hope you guys see it and are excited as much as we are.
I'm missing the clapping hands button.
There's no clapping hands, but I'll clap. There you go.
There you go.
But I'm truly excited. I think it's going to change how people learn. And I think it's going to change how we look at learning. Because learning doesn't have to be like a 5-6 hour sync and then 3 hours of what just happened. Because that's like the 3 hours right after the 5 hours is what just happened. Am I going to remember this tomorrow? And I think in this way, it allows you to go a little bit slower on the things that you need. So people that are just like, I thoroughly don't even understand GitHub at this point. there'll be a class for like I don't understand GitHub, like a workshop. And I think it's going to be helpful for everyone, considering there are people here in our community that don't code or aren't amazing using AI and creating agents, which is why I have Making Good Agents. And some of you will attend that and be like, I've been making agents since I was 2 years old. But some people will know about that. And the others are going to be like, wow, I didn't know that's how I should be doing the agents. So I'm glad I did this. And there's 2 tracks of people right there. And they're both amazing. And that's why we want to make it more like a buffet and not like a fancy menu, where it's like we choose the meals you get. So I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited for all of you. And to see like what you guys build, especially given now there's going to be more help essentially. So you have more support to help you where you lack. And we're really just excited to change the level of impact that we've been doing. Because we've already been impacting, but now it needs to be more. And so that is all I have for you guys. And I'm really excited you guys came.
Did we lose Ross? Can you guys
No.
hear me?
I hear you.
Is it me? Oh, okay.
You're good. But if you guys have any questions, we're always in AI Mastery. We always can see every single thing that you guys post. It's Mighty Networks is really awesome community collaboration platform. And I highly suggest all of you get the mobile app so you stay up to date on every single thing that we do, because there's going to be a lot of cool stuff to do. And I am excited that all the people from our hackathon are back for more. They want to do it again. So we're going to start working with the organizations that we already worked with and reaching out to new ones. And because we have so much time, we can even get them to give us some swag for some winners, which would be really fun. And Cisco is going to be a part of the next hackathon. That's for sure. Confirmed. Sharon, do you hear me now? It's working?
Yeah, I hear you.
Nice. But you all are awesome. You are makes AI Mastery awesome. So thank you. And I will see you the next time we have a workshop, which is literally tomorrow. So anyone that wants to learn how to make good agents, RSVP to tomorrow's workshop. And with that, have a great night, everyone. Talk to you later.
Do we have anything else tonight?